Your next ABC News is at 10 o'clock. That's about 15 minutes away. Let's talk a little technology beforehand. It's been a while. Matthew Dickerson, our regular tech expert. Matthew, good morning to you.
Yeah, COVID really has taken over everything. When we're missing out on technology, then we really know things are drastic, Nick.
Well, it's very drastic given how much we're using it at home at the moment. I mean, I've managed to get myself 2 of the next generation consoles, so I've been working my way through the gaming that I've been backing up on that. And I'm looking at my TV, which has been a great TV for a couple of years now, and I'm finally looking at it and thinking maybe 55 inches isn't big enough. Maybe I need a much bigger TV, but at some point you kind of hit a point where you've run out of wall room more than you've run out of anything else.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we have talked about bigger TVs before. I think we've talked about the wall and some huge TVs, but they're getting cheaper now and they're getting better all the time. But for example, if you wanted a 140-inch TV, you're still probably paying 50 grand and you're soaking up a fair amount of real estate on your wall. So TCL's come up with a nice new little innovation using a pair of glasses to simulate a 140-inch TV. And this is only possible now because of the advances they've made with OLED. So with micro OLED screens on there, effectively you're seeing maybe 2-3 centimetres from your eyes, the same size you'd be seeing if you look at a 140-inch 3 metres or 4 metres away. So I love the idea for a few reasons. One is it's dramatically cheaper, so they're less than $1,000 compared to a lot more than that for a full 140-inch screen. But when you've got your big 140-inch screen set up in your lounge room or your home cinema or wherever that might be, you're limited to that location. Whereas with these, in lockdown, you might say, I'm sick of sitting in the lounge room all the time watching up my old movies. I want to go outside or out to the deck or into the kitchen or just lay around in bed. These glasses are just a normal-ish size pair of glasses. They're a little bit bigger than normal because they've got speakers built into the arms on the glasses, but they're nothing like a VR headset. VR headsets get pretty heavy on your head after you've been playing with them for a while, so they're quite good in terms of that. Any device that puts out a video signal with a USB-C connector will actually allow it to be plugged in. And the bonus for this, and I can hardly wait to try this one out, when I used to sit in the old days on an aeroplane, in particular international flights, then you'd sit there and you'd be working away, and I'm sure, Nick, I was very annoying to the person sitting beside me because I'd have this glow of the screen while they're trying to get some sleep, or maybe someone with some sticky beak eyes wanted to look at what was on my screen. Not that I had anything confidential on there or anything, but I could now see myself putting these glasses on and having the equivalent of a 140-inch monitor that I can work on. I just thought the spreadsheets I could look at there, that was very exciting, Nick.
I'm glad you're excited about the spreadsheets. Come on, when you're on a plane, everyone knows that the seat back entertainment, whatever's being shown in the seat in front of you is far more interesting than what's on your own screen. You got to peek through that little bit and go, But this is actually quite remarkable because I have tried some of these glasses before, but many, many years ago. Obviously, the resolution wasn't as great as it could be. It was a really nice idea, but it never quite worked well. As you said, the changes to that OLED technology is allowing for this, and I was pretty surprised to learn about how they're getting around the weight of the battery issue.
Yeah, well, they don't worry about a battery on it at all. They're just allowing the power.
It's amazing.
Yeah, power to be supplied by the USB-C, which I think is great because I do find that a bit uncomfortable when you wear those VR headsets, and they're much bigger than this, but it does get a bit heavy, and even I actually find if you're playing a game, it gets a bit sweaty on all the bits, so it's a bit disgusting when you hand the VR headset onto the next person for them to play. You get the wipes and want to wipe that up. But yeah, you're right. Getting the power supplied by the device is a much smarter way to do it.
Very, very keen to see how they work out. And clearly, as we often see, when one of these bits of technology comes out, some of the other players come full suit and join in on it. So we could see some big changes in this space. From the fun stuff to something a bit more serious, security when it comes to, banking, all of that. We're constantly being told that what we know as two-factor authentication is the most secure way of doing it, of verifying who we are. Maybe not as secure as we thought it was.
No, and two-factor in its concept is good, and some places even go for as far as three-factor, but two-factor is a good concept. The real issue here, Nick, is how you get the two-factor. And most of us have been relying, and most of our banks, for example, have been relying on text messages. That's a pretty good way to do it. You get a text message, you've got your mobile phone, no one else can see that text that comes through to you, except little things like the FluBot malware, which has been running rampant around Australia over the last couple of weeks. One of the things that FluBot does is puts an invisible layer over your screen. So someone else, somewhere out there that's installed this bit of malware on your phone is looking at everything that you can see on your phone and actually seeing everything that you type into your phone. So if you go to your banking software and type a password in, bang, they've got that. Then you get the text message from your bank and, they've got that already. So they can then be you and log into your banking software. One of the things that you see, and some banks in Australia do it more for business accounts that have got very large sums of money that are being transacted, but something that we see a lot more overseas is the idea of a token. So it's still two-factor authentication. You still type in a password and then you pull your token out, which is on your key ring or in your pocket or wherever it might be, and it will be a new number generated every minute. They're just a really accurate clock. I'm actually impressed by how accurate the clock is on these. and effectively, you've got the bank, for example, on a server is generating a new code every minute. It knows exactly when to do it because it knows the exact time. Your token is not synchronized with it, but is set up to generate the same code every minute. So as long as it keeps time, and they say you only need to replace them about once every 5 years, as long as it's keeping time, it's generating that same code. So you type in your password, that's great, you know that. Then you type in your token code, which the only way someone would have that is if they're watching you with a camera somewhere to see the token, and that would have to be accurate enough to zoom in because the tokens are fairly small. So suddenly the security becomes a lot better. So I'm not sure how long we'll keep seeing with high security applications the good old-fashioned text message coming out, because the other thing that people do is they steal someone's phone number. They ring a carrier, they say, hey, I'm Bill Bloggs, here's my date of birth, I want to change over my phone service. And the phone carrier says, great, new customer, we'll change them over, there's your new SIM card, sir. And of course then they get the SMS sent. The person doesn't even know that an SMS is being sent because it's going to their new carrier that they've supposedly signed up with, but it's not really them, it's someone else. So there are some issues with SMS. It's better than one factor, don't get me wrong, Nick. It's better than one factor, but I just think the bad guys are always working on getting around things, and these are the methods they're using to get around the latest security impositions that banks are putting on.
Isn't it hilarious, though, because that kind of keychain security fob that we used to see so often, that was meant to be the old school way of doing it. The apps and the techs were meant to be the new way of doing it for everyone, but of course we have to go back to it. Maybe we'll go right back. I remember seeing in the 90s, Java made a physical ring, as in one that you would wear on your finger, that had a Java applet built into it that you would plug in to a computer to let it know that it was you. Why not? Why not security jewelry all over again?
Yeah,
sure.
That's right. I mean, the other thing is that the old thing with security is know something, i.e. password, have something, i.e. a token, or be somebody, and then that's when you get fingerprint scans or eye scans. So there is some discussion around this whole three-factor idea. Put in a password, have a text or a token, and then scan a fingerprint. So it becomes clumsier and clumsier for us as users to do it because the bad guys keep making it more and more difficult for the security, or they need to be making it more difficult for security. So it does become one of those things that, I've got to log into my bank. It's a 3-hour process because I've got to go through all these different things. But again, this is what happens. We need to keep increasing that security.
And look, Matthew, finally, something a bit nicer. Diabetes treatment. We know that technology is making a huge impact on healthcare, and diabetes seems to be almost on the forefront of that.
Yeah, it is. I've actually ridden push bikes with guys that have got diabetes, and they've got their little unit that sits in their back pocket that's plugged in under their skin to just keep checking their insulin levels and updating that if they need to. And I thought that was a pretty good bit of technology, but it's still a bit clumsy. It's a thing in your back pocket. You've got to carry it around. So they've now come up with the next level, which it almost sounds like sci-fi stuff, Nick. It's incredible. They actually open you up slightly, put a device under your skin, but outside your stomach. It's got a direct link in so that you can actually have insulin basically injected directly into you, but it also monitors your insulin levels. But the things that I were really impressed with were two things. One, how do you charge this device up? It's obviously needing some power. Well, it uses a wireless charger, just the same as mobile phones use a wireless charger. So you don't have a couple of leads hanging out the side of you plugged into a power point each night. It just has a wireless charger. So you put the wireless charger against your stomach to charge up the device from outside your stomach. And I thought, well, that's pretty impressive, but we've had wireless charging for a little while. And then I started thinking about how do they get the insulin into the device to be able to put into your body when it's needed.
Yeah.
So you actually take a magnetic tablet. And the magnetic tablet has got insulin inside. I know it sounds crazy. It's got insulin inside it. And inside your stomach, this little device has got a little piece sticking into your stomach. It goes in your stomach. The magnetic device is attracted to the metal on this. It then takes that into the device so that it's got a restocking of the insulin that's in there. I read this and I thought, I'm reading some sort of make-believe, some sort of fiction, but they're actually running this in pigs right as we speak. They haven't started doing human tests yet. They're still waiting for certification for that. But in pigs at the moment, they've got this sitting in there. They're feeding the tablets down the pig's mouth and it's going through. The insulin's being picked up. They're charging it remotely. It does sound quite incredible.
I'm absolutely blown away. I mean, this is borderline cybernetics.
It is, that's right. I'm not actually a diabetic, Nick, but I want to get one installed just because it sounds like such good technology.
You said it's just being tested at the moment. Do we have any idea about human trials?
They're trying to get the human certification at the moment, and that can take anywhere from days, weeks, months, years. But the fact that they're running it in live animals at the moment, in pigs, means that obviously they're not too far away from getting to the stage where they're doing live trials. I mean, it's got Bluetooth on there, of course, because let's face it, everything's got to have Bluetooth. So you can monitor that on your phone. You can monitor insulin levels. I mean, it just sounds like something that would get to the point where a diabetic would live their life as near enough as normal and not do anything. Charge up every now and again, take a tablet every now and again, and that's it. And the device would take care of the rest of it for them. So, yeah, it is pretty cool technology. You're right, healthcare is really progressing quite well, but this is the sort of thing that really makes a difference to people's lives.
Matthew Dickinson, we'll leave it there. We'll talk again soon. Thank you. Our rest of it for them. So, yeah, it is pretty cool technology. You're right, healthcare is really progressing quite well, but this is the sort of thing that really makes a difference to people's lives. Matthew Dickinson, we'll leave it there. We'll talk again soon. Thank you, our regular tech expert.